Hey film fans, my name is David and this is Film Collector Archive. Welcome everyone to this inaugural video of Film Collector Archive. I want to thank you so much for sticking with me through this transition period as we transitioned brands from Cartoon Fortress over to what is now Film Collector Archive. The hiatus or break, whatever you want to call it, the transition period took a little bit longer than anticipated, but I am very, very happy to be back here with you on the channel, bringing you new content. Now, I thought the best way for me to kick off this new channel or new brand would be to show even past viewers, but especially new viewers, how I organize my collection. What I feel like this is going to accomplish is it will show you who I am as a collector, and if that's something that kind of aligns with your collecting habits or tastes and you would find this channel helpful to you as a collector, then I would love to have you as a part of the community. So what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the collection and just show you exactly that, how I organize my collection, and that'll again give you a good idea of specifically what type of items I like to collect, because there's definitely a lot of collectors out there, a lot of different collecting tastes and habits and things like that, and I feel like there's a very specific type of collector that I am. So I hope you can gain insight into that, and without further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to the other camera. All right, everybody, so here is the shot of my closet that I actually converted into shelving for my collection. This is the shot that sits behind me when I'm set up filming videos. But yeah, this used to be a closet that I gutted and put in shelving from IKEA. If you're curious, these are their Billy bookshelves, and they work really, really well for the collection. And the nice thing is I actually had the space to work with where 3 of these shelves actually fit, I'm talking down to the centimeter, just perfectly in this space. So that worked out really well. Now, I'm not meaning for this to be a room tour video, but I'll just kind of pan to the right here and show you. So a big part of the collection is in here in the closet. Here we have my, and I'm sorry for the window, here we have my To Kill a Mockingbird vinyl. This is the company that produces the vinyl book covers for Barnes & Noble. Here is my luxurious leather theater recliner that I watch films in. And then panning over here, here's my Detour Criterion Collection poster, also the Goonies, and yes, there is a gaping hole there. I have a vintage Haunted Mansion ride poster from Disneyland that I am going to be framing and putting there. One of my friends actually produces these really beautiful posters for the Disneyland rides, and Haunted Mansion is my favorite ride. Here is the desk. This is where I work every day. I happen to be reading this book right now, Taking Shape, which chronicles the Halloween film series. There's actually a second book, Taking Shape 2, that I've got on the shelf as well, which I may or may not read directly after this one, but really enjoying that read. So that's the desk. And then here we have the collection. Yes, my son, we have a constant game going where we hide this gizmo plush doll. Anyways, looks like I just found it. It's just kind of a constant game we have going. Anyways, yeah, so we have shelving here, and this wraps around up here, and that frames out a nice area for the TV. I still have my humble but really loyal 42-inch Vizio TV. You can see here too with my setup, I do have the cable stuff that's coming down here, and there's a reason for all of that, because I needed access obviously to power for my devices, but as I have these new shelves in here, they are actually all fastened very securely to the wall, and then they're actually fastened to each other, so there's no space behind the shelves to put the power cables. So I'm actually going to be upgrading, hopefully, to a 70-inch. I'm going to be upgrading actually to 4K equipment here soon. Anyways, so we have the TV. That's my Sony BDP S3700, which is my region-free player, which I highly recommend. Apple TV, and then my the little Raspberry Pi computer there. That houses a whole bunch of retro video game ROM files that I'm able to play on my TV. Anyways, so I'm going to give you a quick overview of how I organize the collection. This is not going to be anything in-depth. This is not at all going to be a title-by-title look through the collection, but I just want to give you an idea of how I organize my collection. Let's actually take Gizmo down here. He is not in the collection, but yeah, we have a lot of fun with that. Anyways, that is neither here nor there. So first up, this is my Criterion shelf. So I have collector's box sets on top, and then I'll just take you right over here. So we go right into digipacks and box sets, and then that transitions into the standard releases in their standard casing, and then the middle shelf here, the fixed shelf on the bookcase, I used for some more of the collector's box sets, and then that's Criterion. All the way down, there's nothing yet on that bottom shelf, and then just the end piece there, I have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is not a Criterion release, but it just is there to hold up the other titles. And then moving over, we go into my Aero video collection. These start with the limited edition box sets. I went basically large box sets into smaller box sets. The Apartment and Tales from the Urban Jungle, those are both from Aero Academy, which is now defunct. Everything is being released under the Aero video label. And then more limited edition box sets there. And then we go to the limited edition, the slipcover editions, and then standard edition or reissued box sets, which aren't in the thick box sets. They're the kind of flimsier, kind of like what Kino Lorber releases, just the thinner box sets. And then standard Aero video releases, and then I've got a few of the Aero book releases, which are really great if you're interested. In fact, recently I got some of those during the Aero Camp, the Camp Aero Video Part 2 sale, and they had those going for £5, which I couldn't say no to. One of which is takes a look at The Hitcher, which immediately grabbed my attention. I love that film. And then on the end we have the Bates Motel Complete series that's holding up those sets. And then below that, I'll kind of dip down here a little bit. We have my Shout Factory and Shout Select releases, box sets, steelbooks, and then slipcover editions, and then just standard editions. And then finally, we have Mill Creek. Those are steelbooks, retro VHS slipcover editions, and then a few standard titles, as well as the complete series of King of Queens, one of my favorite TV shows. And then OJ Made in America, that is the ESPN 30 for 30 collector's set. All right, and then moving over, I'll kind of just back up this way and show you this way. So starting at the top on this one, we have my very small 4K collection, box sets, and then two slipcover editions, and that ends with Willy Wonka, and then it moves over into my standard Blu-ray slipcover editions. Now this is the only shelf, well, I shouldn't say the only shelf, but I do not collect very many studio releases. I'm not a studio release collector. And so, yeah, those are more minimal in my collection. But that is the top shelf, and then kind of going all the way down. The end piece there is the Goonies 25th Anniversary Edition box set, which I have the 4K of, But that 25th anniversary box set, the extras inside, there's some books and that type of thing inside that box that it's just too good to give up. So I will definitely be keeping that set. And then on the very bottom, we have the Stranger Things sets for season 1 and season 2. There's the Blu-ray and then the 4K editions for each season 1 and 2. We have not had a physical release on season 3, which I'd love to see. And then, of course, we have the forthcoming season 4, which I believe was pushed back to next year, to 2022, if I remember right. Moving over to the next big shelf here. On top, we have some books, including some Disney books, and then my beloved Calvin and Hobbes, the hardback edition box set of that. My favorite comic of all time, easily. And then I'm not a pop collector, but I do have the Steamboat Willie and then a Mickey Mouse mug. And moving down, this is probably the most prized possession in my collection, and that is the Walt Disney Treasures collection. That took me years to compile, to be able to get all 30 sets in that collection, as they are all long out of print, and I had to do a lot of searching, and it took a few dollars to get that all put together. And it worked out really nice because Leonard Maltin was really involved with that series. He's my favorite film critic and film historian of all time. And it worked out well to be able to have his movie guide and then his classic movie guide alongside the Walt Disney Treasures sets. And those, as you can see here, fit perfectly on one shelf. The tins that shipped with the treasure sets, I do have stored upstairs, but I don't have them on the shelf. I prefer them without the tins. And then moving down, we have my Disney Blu-rays, Target exclusives for the Walt Disney Signature Collection, and then standard Disney stuff, and then finally the Disney Movie Club exclusives, a few slipcovers there, and then the standards. And then on the very end, just next to Batman the Animated Series there, we have Song of the South, which is obviously not an official Disney release, but I'm very, very happy to have that on the shelf. I love that film. And then Batman the Animated Series, Adventure Time, and Samurai Jack. Just wanted to feature a few TV shows there. After that, we have some books from Taschen, and these are all basically film related, but we do have the Marvel book there as well. But just a nice array from Taschen. If you haven't checked out any of their books, I recommend doing so. And then I have the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood collector set there. That is the most views I've ever gotten on a video actually came from unboxing and covering that set. The video, just for whatever reason, really took off. And then going down from there, we have my anime collection. So we have anime, and then we have the G Kids releases, which have a few Irish films in there as well. If you're familiar, I have The Breadwinner, Song of the Sea, and The Secret of Kells, which are all three just absolutely gorgeous films, really worth having. And then below there, we have the G Kids limited edition releases of My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, and Spirited Away. Really gorgeous, lavish box sets that they put together. I wished they would have continued that series. For whatever reason, they have not. But they include the film and then the soundtrack, as well as a book inside. And those are large, hard, rigid boxes that those are housed in. And then below that, we have Blu-ray box sets. And on the very bottom shelf, we have digibooks and my very, very small steelbook collection. And then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles box set there, which are some favorites of mine from growing up. I love especially Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and 2. So definitely have to have that in the collection. And then we have The Breakfast Club and Say Anything. One of my best buddies got me these prints at a Comic-Con, and so I've got them up here. Moving into, so this is the closet converted into the collection shelving area. Up top we have some film books, Wes Craven, Wes Anderson, the Coen Brothers, Friday the 13th, and then that's the Crystal Lake Memories book, and then Monty Python's Flying Circus. That is the limited edition box set, very much out of print, and will cost you a pretty penny, I think, to get these days. But moving down, so in the closet here we have mostly boutique label stuff, but as you'll see in the very bottom right hand corner of the closet is my DVD collection. And I apologize if you hear my kids laughing in the background, but it is Sunday today and they are all having fun playing together. Okay, so we start out here on the top shelf with Eureka. So I have the Masters of Cinema and Classics releases. Obviously not a huge collection, but some really, really important titles in that collection. And that's one that's going to definitely continue to grow, as will the next shelf down. Those are films from Second Sight. So Eureka's out of the UK, as is Second Sight. They have done absolutely amazing work. Those are all, except for the two, you see the standard editions in there, those two standard editions. These are all limited edition box sets, very, very well put together. And the end piece there, their Dawn of the Dead release is really second to none when it comes to physical media. It is quite outstanding. And going down from there, we have reached the Warner Archive collection. They, earlier this year, had their final, or what they were calling their final 4 for $44 sale. So I really went to town on that sale and brought in a bunch of titles. So you can see there's this shelf, and then it ends on this shelf here. Right here, I have a collection of books from Bitmap Books, who are one of my favorite publishers. They focus on video game history, and that is right up my alley, especially with the I should say more so with the classic video games. So I have books there on Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Atari. They really do a great job covering those different consoles, and in that kind of niche of video game history books, or books just on video games period, they are really the top of the stack in my opinion. And I've had fun covering some of their releases on my channel. And then below there, the next two shelves, those are miscellaneous boutique releases. So we have a Severin box set there. There's Vinegar Syndrome, 88 films. Right here are the sets for Monty Python, which I have the box up top that I showed you a second ago. Those are the actual Blu-ray sets from within that box set, and I just wanted to have them out on the shelf ready to just pull off the shelf if I wanted to without having to go in the box. And then I also have some of the sub-label releases from Vinegar Syndrome, the American Genre Film Association, Fun City Editions, Utopia, are all represented there. And then down right there is a really fun series from Umbrella Entertainment called Drive-In Delirium, which is kind of almost like a grindhouse presentation of old film trailers. That was really a labor of love from the guys that put that together, and they're a lot of fun. And then just some more miscellaneous stuff down there, including, I want to point out, Life After the Navigator. Filmmaker Lisa Downs helmed that project, and she's done some other really great work as well. In fact, she's working on a film right now covering the never-ending story called Life After Atreyu. So definitely something, a name to follow, Lisa Downs. Now I'm sorry, the final shelf down below there is some miscellaneous books. There's some Star Wars and Disney and Pixar stuff. There's some more Bitmap books. The Ad Astra and Ad Nauseum series, which has they're a collection of film advertisements from newspapers, that type of thing. So really actually interesting to look at. And then a stack of random books there on the very end. Moving up, so I have a blank spot on the wall here, and that is actually where I'm going to have the lithograph from the Friday the 13th Scream Factory set framed, and then I'm thinking I'm going to have some, again, I'm not a pop collector, but I think I'm going to get a few of the pop slasher figures, maybe something like that, to kind of line the front of that shelf in front of the framed lithographs, so we'll see. And then moving down, probably my first or second favorite boutique label. It honestly is probably tied for first place for me with Criterion. We have Indicator here. They are absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, they do a lot of box sets. Their Columbia Noir series right now is what I'm particularly obsessed with. Number 4 is going to be coming, will be delivered here to me shortly. Very excited to dive into that one, but as you can see, they have a lot of coverage on Hammer, John Ford, Sam Fuller, who I'm becoming more and more a fan of, Marlene Dietrich and Joseph von Sternberg, William Castle, another personal favorite, and Ray Harryhausen. They're really doing an amazing job covering some really phenomenal releases. And then after that, there's some smaller limited edition box sets, and then you have the standard packaging but still limited edition sets after that. And those are actually in the same packaging style as the Criterion standard releases, just as a point of reference on the packaging style if you wanted to know that. And then the end there is the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection, as essential as anything else in my collection. I don't know, what can you say about Alfred Hitchcock? I love the films of Alfred Hitchcock. And then this is really, I'm not really doing a great job of making a case for me not being a pop collector, because here's another pop on the end. That is the Zoltar machine from Big, which I'm very excited to have on my shelf. My son actually gave that to me, and I love having that. And then down from there, we have a couple of more Aero Academy releases. Again, the Aero Academy label is now defunct, but that is A Trip to the Moon from George Méliès, and The Game with Michael Douglas. We also have the ESPN 30 for 30 series, the 5th anniversary edition box set. Some more books that I am currently interacting with, working my way through. And then below there, we have my Scream Factory collection. You can see the Friday the 13th box is out. I'm making my way through those films. I'm about halfway through, but I'm going back and watching through the supplements on each of those titles. So it's just a treasure trove of great content to get through. And then box sets, a slew of the slipcover editions of the collector's editions, and then just standard packaging, and then the Scooby-Doo Where Are You complete series, the Haunted House edition, which is a lot of fun. And then on the bottom shelf, we have a few collector's box sets: Casablanca, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and then Anne of Green Gables, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite miniseries. To be honest, I adore that show. Moving up to our final shelf here. On top, we have Supernatural, the new Blu-ray complete series set. One of my wife's favorite shows, one that I am hoping to watch through with her and get into. A Night of the Living Dead limited set, Gamera from Aero, and then from Bitmap Books, the Game Boy box art collection. And then the final boutique label section here is Kino Lorber. So we have box sets from their Kino Classics, Kino Lorber Animation, and Kino Lorber Studio Classics series. And then, so box sets, and then slipcover editions, and finally just standard packaging editions. Then we have another shelf of books. Oh, and then we can't forget Mario there on the end with the NES Classic Edition box. Right below that is the SNES Classic Edition box. 2 systems we have here in our home. And below that we have another shelf of books. all film related there. And then on the end we have some art of books. And then on the very bottom here we have my DVD collection. The first shelf there features some key animated series sets. I was a Thundercats kid, so that's my favorite on that shelf. But 2 shelves of DVDs, some titles of which I am really hoping receive Blu-ray upgrades at some point. Specifically, I was thinking about this Lucas from 1986 and Whitewater Summer from 1987, I believe that one was. I would love to see Blu-ray upgrades on those. And then some others in there as well. Maybe the Mr. Bean collection would be awesome. Anyways, and then I've got some miscellaneous Scream Factory, Shout Factory posters in there from the collector's editions and whatnot. There's actually a decent amount in there. So just backing up here, give you again just an overview. So that is that section of the collection, and then moving over here. So this is the space I have for my collection. When this space is gone, it is gone. Luckily with these shelves, it's nice because I could double up if I wanted to. I hope to not get to that point, but it's nice to know that it is an option. But that is the collection. Just wanted to give you a glimpse at how I organize my stuff, what type of collector I am, so you can see I'm very boutique label centric, if you will. I love the boutique label stuff. But there's definitely studio titles that I have in the collection as well that I'm very happy to have. But that is the collection. Thank you very much for watching this video. Go ahead and drop me a comment down below and let me know how you organize your collection. I'm always interested in gaining insight from other collectors on how they operate, and I'd love to know what insight you have for me and for everyone else that's down in the comments section or that might be watching this video. And until next time, let's keep the conversation on film alive and well.